Tomorrow, top military officials will testify before the Senate Armed Services Committee on the chaotic withdrawal from Afghanistan last month. This will be the first public hearing since the end of the military mission in the country and the deaths of 13 service members at Kabul's airport. We now bring in Ambassador Nathan Sales, former State Department Coordinator for Counterterrorism and Vandenberg Coalition Advisory Board member. Ambassador, thanks for joining us.
Good to be here, Jerry. Thanks.
So we've got Secretary of Defense Austin, we've got General Mark Milley testifying and others tomorrow. What are going to be the most important questions that they're going to be asked?
I think, Jerry, that the American people are going to want answers to the most basic question of all. How did Afghanistan unravel so badly on President Biden's watch? I think the White House imposed some crippling and artificial constraints on the way the Defense Department did its job in Afghanistan, sticking to this arbitrary deadline of August 31st to withdraw all American forces, rather than staying as long as it took to get every American citizen out to safety. And I think they also put an arbitrary cap on the number of American soldiers who could be in country in the weeks leading up to the collapse of the government. And that required the Defense Department to make some really hard choices. We've only got 600 or 700 troops that the White House will allow. Do we use those troops to protect Bagram Air Base, or do we use those troops to protect our embassy in Kabul? So they had to make the tough choice of surrendering Bagram. And as we now know, that turned out to be an absolutely catastrophic miscalculation on the part of the Biden administration.
Do you think we'll get any more information on the terrible, tragic circumstances that led to the deaths of those 13 U.S. service members and many Afghan civilians on the outskirts of the airport, and how that could have been avoided?
I think that has to be one of the most important subjects for Congress to look into, because nothing is more important than protecting our service members who are serving on the front lines and putting themselves in harm's way. It was a mistake for the Biden administration to outsource security at the airport to the Taliban. We were basically relying on Taliban terrorists to secure the perimeter and decide who could get close enough to the airport to try to get on a flight. We should never put our soldiers in a position where designated terrorists like the Taliban stand between them and other terrorists like ISIS.
And then, of course, there was that drone attack that we now know killed an Afghan aid worker and members of his family, including, I think, 7 children. Now, you remember General Milley, speaking immediately afterwards, told us that was a righteous act, that it had been done, the intelligence was great, it was perfect, and that we had got a terrorist and stopped him from launching an attack. Then a week or so later, we learned, after a lot of reporting by Wall Street Journal, New York Times and others, it wasn't true at all. They got the wrong person. I suppose part of the question here is, that came after the deaths of the 13 service members. Do you think pressure might have been applied to the military to show some progress tackling the terrorism problem, to show that the Biden administration was serious? Are we going to learn anything about that?
I think that's going to be one of the questions, one of the lines of questions that Congress will be pressing over the course of the hearings this week. It was an absolute tragedy, and our hearts break for the family that lost so many members. I can tell you that the Defense Department goes to extraordinary lengths to protect civilians when carrying out drone strikes. I've worked super closely with DoD, and I've seen firsthand how seriously they take the obligation to prevent civilian casualties. But unfortunately, sometimes mistakes get made, and this was an example of that. And I think going forward, we need to make sure that we retain the ability in Afghanistan to use drones to take al-Qaeda or ISIS terrorists off the battlefield. The administration keeps talking about over-the-horizon counterterrorism. I can tell you what they call it inside the intelligence community. It's not over the horizon, it's over the rainbow, because everybody realizes that we're not going to be nearly as effective at taking the fight to terrorists if we're flying drones in from 8 hours away.
All right, Ambassador Nathan Sales, thanks very much for joining us.